I'm here. I've heard a lot of people in Israel. You have a lot of different opinions in Israel. Not two, not three, but a lot of divergency of opinion as to how things ought to be done. It ought not to be surprising that in the Democratic Party, or in the Republican Party for that matter, you know, when you just have one member of the Republican Party who quit the Republican Party.
Unfortunately, we're seeing something break within the Democratic Party.
What is happening?
Well, just this week, we had about 15% of the entire Congress here together, Republicans and Democrats. But there are a few new Democrats who take a different view, who didn't join with us and want to take their own trip, who didn't vote with us when we denounced BDS, that we were against boycott, divestiture, and sanctions against Israel.
You mean Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar?
I know that after your election, you came out in support of boycott efforts.
We cannot here in the United States say to people that they can't raise their voice, that they can't use the resources that they have to oppose oppression wherever it might exist.
They voted against denouncing that. And the concern that I have personally is the rise of anti-Semitism around the world. Many studies have shown it. It's going throughout the world, places that we haven't seen since the 1930s. But I've heard some of it in America, and we cannot allow that to happen. That's why in the Senate, their very first bill, S1, was an anti-BDS bill. And it was bipartisan, more than 70 votes on that. And that's really big inside the Senate of 100 people. The Democratic leader on their side, Chuck Schumer, not only voted for it, he co-sponsored it. But unfortunately, in the House of Representatives, we did not pass that law. We just moved a resolution. And even moving a resolution, you had some Democrats on the other side of the aisle, these new Democrats, who call themselves socialist Democrats, voted against it.
Does it shed any light, a new light on the Democratic Party?
It does, and it concerns me greatly. Because this is the new emerging Democratic Party, and they seem to have a different view of the bipartisanship that we have always had with that shared bond of Israel. So that is why I was excited that we did have such a big bipartisan delegation here together. And what we try to do is bring the freshmen here so they get an understanding firsthand. They're able to see the issues. We're able to talk about issues that we need back home from DSAL and others. But why wouldn't they join with us? Why wouldn't they join with their other colleagues and go on this trip? That was a concern that I had.
Yes. Are you worried by this phenomenon? It's only a minority, small minority in the Democratic side.
It's a small minority, but it is the driving force in this Democratic Party. It is the new movement of the Socialist Democratic Party. And then when we have a presidential race, it's very clear President Trump and this administration, you've had probably have no greater relationship with Israel than under this administration on the actions they've taken. Then we're having a campaign, and I'm very concerned about things I hear from Bernie Sanders, who came in second to the Democrats last time on his recent discussion about cutting aid to Israel. And that's a concern to me as well.
I see that this issue is very much of your concern.
It is a great concern to me, because there is no greater ally than Israel with America. There is only one democracy in the Middle East. What we've been through for more than 70 years, the world is safer because of our bond. We have watched through history. You never want something small to become the norm. You never want this view that is different to the relationship that we have today to grow. And this small group inside the Democratic Party is probably becoming the most popular group within the Democratic Party. They have some of the most followers when it comes to social media. They are the most vocal. I've watched even in the minority where we had moved a resolution on the floor condemning anti-Semitism comments, and we were successful. But when those comments rose again, the Democratic Party was unable to pass the same resolution. They had to water it down. And when I look at history, I don't take anything for granted. That's why I stand so firm whenever I hear anti-Semitism. And I think all Americans should do that. And for so long, it's been a strong, complete bipartisan support. And there's support on the other side that the Democrats with us.
You are not criticizing the party as a whole.
No.
But you are criticizing a small minority within the party, within the Democrat Party.
I'm concerned about the language they have used, watching them not stand against stopping BDS, movement, which is a concern to me. I do not want those views to grow, and I want them to have an understanding of really what they're saying and what they're seeing. You look in history and you wonder if those actions in the 1930 could have been stopped at the beginning, how the world would have been different. That's why we should take nothing for granted today. Even if it's small, and if you ignore it, it could become something much larger. That's why it's a great concern to me.